This week we're going to highlight ongoing concerns about the crush pace for soybeans in China. We're also going to take a look at the weather market developing in South America, specifically looking at Argentina. And we're going to wrap things up looking at long-term trends in November soybean futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We're just getting ready to start the month of December now, and there's quite a bit going on, not only domestically here in the U.S., but also in South America. Let's start out looking at demand trends, specifically looking at demand trends for U.S. soybean exports. Looking at year-to-date U.S. soybean exports here, this is through the middle of November, and notice that we're down from the last couple years here. A big reason for that, as we highlight here, is China. Looking at that red bar, 433 versus 467 last year and 651 2 years ago. China's soybean crush continues to struggle compared to the USDA forecast. For example, last week's soybean crush in China was 20% below last year. Now there's a lot going on, as I'm sure you've seen on the news with regard to COVID and this and that, but the bottom line is crush since October 1st is down 1.2 million tons, whereas the USDA is expected are forecasting a 9 million ton increase. So we've kept that yellow flag on there for soybean exports moving forward, specifically keeping an eye on China. Let's switch our focus now to South America. We're going to start out looking at where soybeans are produced in Brazil. Now Brazil entering December is a critical month for soybean production. Looking at particularly those northern areas, Mato Grosso, Goiás, Minas Gerais, more of those beans will be in that pod set and pod fill stage. In the southern states of Paraná, Rio Grande do Sul, Mato Grosso do Sul, maybe in the latter part of December into January, but critical weeks and months are upcoming now for Brazil's crop. Of course, anytime you talk about pod set and pod fill for soybeans, we need to talk about the weather. Let's take a look at the short-term forecast. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. Now, it looks like over the next 10 to 14 days, again, we're stretching into almost mid-December now, normal rainfall, near normal rainfall across most of Brazil. So really no concerns yet of any type of drought development or adverse crop development in the near-term future. Let's highlight that by looking at precip totals over the next 14 days, quantifying that, if you will, looking at near normal, actually a little bit above normal as you move further east into some of those growing areas. So in Brazil anyway, no sign of any weather concerns so far. Let's now shift our focus to Argentina, where we're looking at a much different picture. Let's highlight where those beans are grown in Argentina. We're looking at the four key provinces here: Buenos Aires, Cordoba, Santa Fe, and Santiago del Estero. Around 80 to 85% of the beans are produced in those provinces. Let's take a look at the short-term weather forecast for Argentina. Much different picture now for Argentina, near continual heat over the next 2 weeks. Now, I'll emphasize that these beans are just being planted now. Actually, a late planting start in Argentina. They're not in the pod set and pod fill stage, but it's going to be hot in Argentina. And as we wrap up the weather picture here, it's also going to be dry. Looking at the future precip here, the next 10 days to next 14 days, beg your pardon. A lot of red in that picture. So it's more important in Argentina at this point to think of the long-term trend as opposed to immediate impact. Still very important to monitor that trend, of course, as we move into the later part of December and into January. Let's wrap things up now looking at trends in November soybean futures. Now, we highlighted earlier this in November that the November 22 contract expired at $14.42 a bushel. That was over $4 above the 5-year average. Now we're highlighting that November 23 near $13.95 is $3.65 above its 5-year average. And it's still 3 months before that crop insurance price is set. As a matter of fact, this is the highest price ever for November soybean futures going into December of the previous year. Strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to defend your balance sheet. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss an upload. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.